We're here because Cortex, the startup that Amy Rose and myself are working in, are finalists in both the state and national Bionex Queensland competition. Okay, we've developed a sensor that's able to measure brain activity as well as other blood flow changes in the body. So we started out trying to make a sensor that would improve brain-computer interfaces, so the kind of equipment that you'd see for people who don't have mobility and need something that they can operate just with their mind. But it's ended up that we've created something that really has a lot of applications in bionic limbs, and as well as other areas where people need a really high accuracy and effective sensor that doesn't get affected by, say, the electrical fans in the house or something else. Well, if you think about a MRI machine, it measures the blood flow moving through a person's body. And using that, it uses that blood flow to create a picture of where different parts of the body are. What we're doing is doing that with light instead of high-powered magnets like an MRI, and using the combination of the changes to the sensor that we've made. So using the combination of the new sensor design that we have, as well as the improvements in electronics, we're now able to do it with low-powered near-infrared light, and it's going to be really, really helpful for people who need this kind of therapy device. So for people who want a bionic limb that works really well, or for people who want, like myself and my daughter, who need help with a therapy called neurofeedback, it's a game-changing therapy for us. So it allows you to train your brain activity. So it's a way of training your brain. So if you think about the way that people improve their brain function when they use a musical instrument, you improve and you learn a musical instrument by listening to the sound that you make when you play, and by feeling that instrument in your hand, but there's no sense for that in your ability to control your brain activity. So what we're doing is giving that sense to people of, this is what happens when my brain is functioning a certain way, and they can see it on a screen and play a game, and by playing that game they improve their brain function. The area we're particularly excited about is in the ability to plan and organise, which is a real problem for people with autism and ADHD as well as brain injury. They all share a very similar set of symptoms, even though they're caused by different parts of the brain acting in a different way. But what we believe, and based on the clinical research that's been done in the area, we know that this is something that is an effective treatment. It's just hard to access. So if we can give people the access to this kind of therapy, that is going to be such a big improvement for people. The therapy is you play a game just using your mind. So if you want to think about, for example, if you focus in a certain way, the character that you're playing with, or the plane that you're flying, you can make it move around in the game just by thinking about it. And that is the therapy. So what we knew we had to do was to create a game that would, or a therapy that was entertaining and fun, because people with difficulty concentrating, they don't want to do anything that's boring. They want to play something that's fun, and this is a really good way of them to be able to do it. The really important part is that it gives a long-term improvement in their symptoms. Say, in my case, if I take my ADHD medication in the morning, I have to take another medication in 4 hours' time. And that can be really difficult when you don't have enough concentration at the end of that medication to remember to take it. And for some people, those medications really aren't suitable. So to have a treatment that has a long-term effect is fun to do and can help so many people it's really exciting to be able to provide that.
So we've developed the sensor to be applied particularly and specifically, firstly, in brain-computer interface headsets. This is primarily for neurofeedback therapy. The sensor will be placed inside the headset so that we can pick up the blood flow and we can measure the brain activity. Neurofeedback therapy is a globally recognised treatment and therapy for neurological conditions. The problem we have is the accessibility. So we have a lot of young people, particularly with autism and ADHD, who may have sensory sensitivities, or they may not be able to sit down for 2 hours while they have their neurofeedback therapy, which at the moment is a bunch of cables glued to the skull, and even then it's quite expensive. So our goal here is to create a portable, accessible, in-home device so that everybody in the world who has ADHD and autism and other neurological conditions can access this therapy, because at the moment there are so many barriers. So it's probably going to be available to clinicians, firstly, so that they might be, I was talking to Casey earlier about, it might just be sort of like a video easy sort of rental thing, where you can take the device home, pop it on for an hour a day, play the games with your brain and get on with your day. So it is essentially to strengthen the brain, and it will be used maybe for months at a time, an hour a day. Yes, particularly something that's portable. There are some portable therapeutic devices, but the sensors, similar to what we're designing now, they are only on the front of the forehead, so they actually don't deliver the quality data required to have that neurofeedback therapy, especially clinical-based therapies. So there is nothing at the moment, unfortunately, and that's why Casey and I put our life on hold to build this thing. So I joined Cortex about 18 months ago. Casey has been working on this for about 10 years. So Casey and his daughter both have autism and ADHD. And so Casey has experienced neurofeedback therapy. And because he's a medical researcher, he understood that all of the flaws that were currently in the neurofeedback therapies at the moment. So he began tinkering, and there's a lot of bags of stuff and a lot of devices that he's chopped and changed up, and this is how we've come to this. It's been about 10 years in the making. Yes, so we have had a big breakthrough and we finally have our MVP. We have been on a little bit of a trajectory since we were in the Bionics Queensland Challenge last year, and we have our medical sensor. It is doing things that we did not design it to do, and that's not saying that it's doing crazy things, it's doing things that now make it applicable in other medical devices.